I just watched Stan the Talking Dogs video with the, theory with lots of canon evidence in several season 2 episodes of Amphibia that Wally could actually be Ivy Sundew's father we know about. I always question why Ivy's living with Ivy lives with their mother, whereas their father. The saddest stuff, the decisions were about the squirrel eating them when they were frozen in winter and snow day. They never really tell us about, strangely they never actually, it's kind of strange they didn't actually reminisce on any of the names of the citizens who got eaten before and came and saved them with their lasagna, which they should learn how to do. They all need to, Stumpy and Maggie Flower's father, the baker, but they're good chefs. They used to learn how to make them foods that Jesus was. Maybe, or hopefully Anne and Sasha's leadership taught them to be practical and make their own offerings for the giant snow squirrel. Or was it a badger? But anyways, yeah. As far as I know, all the residents of Fortwood are still alive and uneaten 10 years later in the hardest thing. First maybe that squirrel is, maybe that giant squirrel badger is how, maybe that's how Mr. Croker got eaten. I would have said the same for Ivy's father, but now I gotta hear Outstand the Talking Dog, because, remember how I said that the main location of the planters and Anne has changed more times than a good place because of all the adventures they went on in 3? Well, that's where Stan the Talking Dog's big theory about Ivy's father comes into play, and why Wally secretly being Ivy's biological dad. After the handful of scenes we've had with him, we've seen of him on screen at the same time as Felicia and Ivy come into play. So yeah, for the whole first season, the whole first season of Amphibia is about Anne rooming with the planters and the planters tending to their own farm family business until the very end, when Anne gets crowned the frog of the year, and we meet Sasha Waybright. The planters tending the farm. We got a lot of episodes like Resident Speaker's Hop Hop, but there's also stuff like Planners Last Stand, How Popular, Family Shrub, and Fiddle Me This. And then of course they start on a road trip to Utopia, where we meet that robot who, the first two episodes, the robot is used to document everything. Yeah, the first episode they got Chuck too. They call it Chuck to keep their house secure, and then they come across the temple that becomes, they cross the robot temple that becomes important in season 2. And 10 episodes later, and then for the next 4 episodes, they go to Utopia. The 6th episode, they arrive in Utopia. And the robot appears. The robot following them from the end of the 1st episode appears once again at the end of both segments of the 2nd episode. Then we see him again. We see him or her again 10 episodes later at the end of Night Drivers. Then he finally catches up with them and friend or Frobo, and Polly becomes his friend. Alright, yeah. So and 5 episodes on the journey up to Utopia, and 5 episodes in Utopia. There's a special Halloween episode, which is probably uncanny. Trails of Horror is Amphibia's version of Trails of Horror in the same vein as the regular shows Terror Tales of the Park, or Fates and Crips Terrifying Tri-State Trilogy of Terror. Then we have 1 episode going back to the Utopia to Warwood. Yeah, that's odd. Why did it take 5 episodes to get? Why did it take 5 or 4 episodes to get to Utopia, but only 1 episode to get back from Utopia to Warwood? It's strange. And then we're back in, and then we spend the rest of season 2 back in Warwood until the final episode, where Joe Sparrow flies the Planters, Sasha, Marcy, and Anne back, and Captain Grime back to Utopia. Then we have, then we get half a season with Anne. Then we get half a season with Anne and the Planters back in Anne's home in Los Angeles, with 3 chase downs by Mr. X, and then the second half of the season, we're back in Amphibia, joining Sasha's army in the war against King Andreas, and then we have our final 2 episodes then we have 1 more episode back on Earth, and then another episode in Amphibia, and then a 10-year time skip showing the characters of Amphibia and then the characters on Earth. Showing the characters of Amphibia and the characters of Earth. Okay, so in Santa Talking Dogs video about Wally. Yeah, I mentioned that Wally. Okay, to make a long story short, he mentions how Wally and he mentions how Ivy on the Run, how Ivy and her mother Felicia in Ivy on the Run, in the 1st episode after Return to Warwood, they have the same plot type, or the same story setup as Wally and his father Wigbert in Swamp and Sensibility. And he said a lot of interesting things about what could, Stan Talking Dogs said a lot of interesting things about what could happen if Felicia and Wally had a storyline together. Either Felicia doesn't know Wally's life and doesn't save him because he's a deadbeat, or maybe she already kind of knows about his secret rich life from travels, if she met him at his fancy golden multiples. Oh, it was a Ribbitvale? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. She, yeah, Felicia Sundew learned a lot of jujitsu or taekwondo or, you know, fighting moves. Felicia Sundew learned a lot of fighting moves on her travels, so, you know, maybe that's also how maybe that's part of how she met Wally, if she knew him, and if Ribbitvale was one of the places to which he traveled. Oh my frog, Felicia and Wally are lovers. And, you know, that would actually, if Wally actually, and, you know, I'd actually love it if that turned out to be canon, if Wally was actually Ivy's father, because yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I think that's really cool how Swamp and Sensibility and Ivy on the Run, they're both about, you know, Wally or, you know, Felicia living a double life. And if Wally actually is Ivy's dad, then that really gives an extra meaning to him. Well, that makes his inexplicable appearance in Ivy on the Run heartwarming in hindsight, because that would answer everybody's question of, does he have to be in this when he was just there spectating with Anne, Sprig, and Polly, and they were watching Ivy and Felicia fight each other. I'm sure Wally was really touched when Felicia said that you know, these cool sparring moves are how she met his dad.
I still can't believe you used to be some kind of world traveler.
Oh, honey, where do you think I met your father?
Mom, please.
Well, I guess our work here is done.
To be honest, I have no idea what's going on.
Well, plus, I've also seen Wally and Ivy hop, flip, and kick in similar fashion and various non-specific inputs. And so, yeah, that's all you need to know about my thoughts on dating season, as well as, you know, the romances between, you know, all three generations of Sundews, you know, Sylvia and her new husband, Pop, Sylvia and her second, at least, husband, Pop, Felicia and their possible former lover Wally, and Ivy, and her close friend turned boyfriend Sprig. Plus, you know, at first I thought it was a coincidence, but, you know, now I think, yeah, maybe it isn't so coincidental anymore that the Sundews have so many encounters with Wally's family. I mean, have you seen this hilarious scene from the end of Spivey? It makes a second appearance of Wigbert. Makes a sudden second appearance of Wigbert at the end of Spivey. It'll look and sound hilarious in hindsight, knowing what you know from this video.
What the? Guys?
Does this guy look like Wally to anyone?